The wounded masculinity. We're on day two of the wounded masculinity, and we had 2 hours yesterday, 2 webinars yesterday, where we went very deep into what came up very strong was the wounded masculine will not accept help, will not even acknowledge he needs help, will shut off, disconnect from oneself, will lead or affect the people around. And that's what I'm noticing really with the wounded masculine, how toxic he is in the system. When I say he, I'm talking about women as well. So when I talk about the wounded masculine, I'm talking about women and men with your masculinity. And also, what was coming very strong was a lot of deprogramming of belief systems. Like these are family traits. Like family, a trait is something that's been cemented from generation after generation. For example, men don't cry, men don't ask for help, men don't even look for help. There's nothing wrong. Pull yourself together. So there was a lot of this disconnect in the system coming up yesterday. A lot of misuse. So a lot of aggression, a lot of explosive aggression coming up, rage, pushiness, pride, um, guilt. So we're going to go much deeper today. I feel it's really, really crucial that we work. These are big fields. These are not just small fields. And you may have a lot of resistance to enter this webinar because of these fields, because they are big fields. And the wounded masculine does not want to ask for help. I think that's really the big red flag in the system, that I feel that your system may not enter the webinar because the exact coding which we had to work with very, very strongly yesterday for 1 hour was not to acknowledge this is a problem, not to acknowledge I need help, and to block it. So the systems were not open. So I would say for anyone out there who didn't take part of the webinar, be aware that when the wounded masculine activates or is active in your system, the wounded masculine will not join the webinar, will not ask for help, will not acknowledge that he's hurting, that he's in pain, that he's emotionally cut off, that he's abusive. There's going to be pride, there's going to be dictatorship in the system, there's going to be guilt in the system, there's going to be aggression, violence, different levels coming up in the system. So I'm going to go much deeper this evening, and we will address everything around the wounded masculine, because the masculinity is such a gift when you transform it in the right way. But before really the gift comes in, we need to almost like pull up the roots. We need to look at our foundation and see how our foundation was built around the masculine, and see how much aggression is in the system, see how much destruction is in the system, see how much disconnection from the emotions is in the system, see how much pride is in the system, see how much materialistic behavior, it's all from me. And this corruption, the corruption in the system, the mafia energy was very strong as well in the system when I tuned into the wounded masculinity. So these are all traits and strong ones. So a strong trait, you need to grab your will and go for it and really break down the system. So we're going to really go even deeper again this evening to work on the foundation of our roots and our traditions, our belief systems. And as I say, the wounded masculine would never join the webinar. Never join the webinar, because there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have a problem. You have the problem. So there's a lot of blame. I'm good. I'm perfect. I'm always right in the system. He will not ask for help. So this is something to be aware of. if you're feeling a lot of resistance come up in your system or say, no, this webinar is not for me, it could be this wounded part that's activating in you, convincing you that you're good. Don't go into the system. Don't open these systems. These are big systems, really big systems. I'm working to bring in this webinar. I've been working nonstop. On the feminine webinar, it was a huge field that I had to drop into 24/7. And I'm finding this one almost even bigger in the system. And it's coming up very, very strong. So it's really important to know that these are big fields and they are something that's in you, in your foundation, in your behavior patterns, in your subconsciousness, which play out daily, and they affect every aspect of your life. If we want to create new art, we need to address the wounded masculine in the system, because otherwise you will create a very strange place. And that is really coming up strongly on the collective level at the moment. It's a collective shadow. So the collective shadow is playing out these shadow aspects of the wounded masculine. And it's so beautiful that we have the full moon this evening, and the full moon is pulling up the system and giving us a chance to resolve. The full moon is pulling up the systems so we can resolve what's in our own system. So it's the perfect timing to do this webinar with the support of the full moon. This is a powerful full moon and will allow us to pull up any traits, any wounds that are in the system and transform them. It's a good time to do this. Even if you're watching it later, it will have the energy in the webinar of the full moon. So I feel a very powerful webinar this evening, as it was yesterday. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.